Welcome back, my fellow glass enthusiasts. We are here to begin a journey on a 4-part series all about cleaning glass and quartz bangers. I've talked a little bit about what I do right after I take a dab with the whole ISO dunk situation, but I haven't really talked about how I go ahead and clean all my rigs. There's no one easy answer for all of this, so I'm just going to walk you through some of the products that I use to clean my glass. So in this series, we're going to talk about 3 separate cleaners, and then we're going to do an overview video where we compare the 3 and talk about what I use each 3 for. To kick it off, we're going to start with one of the gentlest cleaners that has the biggest plethora of tools to use, Scrubber Duckies. Before we talk a little bit about the fluid, let's go over the tools that they have. And this was one of the coolest things that I really did like from Scrubber Duckies is this brush set. So no matter what size rig you have, they have a brush that fits you that can go in every little nook and cranny of your rig. For dabbers, this isn't such a big deal. For those of us that use drier vapes or combustion, these brushes are amazing. Whether you want to stick one in the downstem or in the neck of your big beaker bong, they have a brush that works for you. The other thing with these brushes is the way that they're designed. They have bristles up the front to minimize any metal contact on the glass. And besides their brushes, Scrubber Duckies have these. And in this little tin is a magic little tool set that's a lot of fun to use. And that is these little magnetized ducks. You can take one of these ducks and throw it in your rig. They say you can leave it up in there for a month, but basically the way this works is you throw the duck in your rig, you take out the little magnet handle, and you can clean the side of your rig with the magnet and the ducky. And let's say the one side of the duck gets too dirty, you can flip the handle over and the duck will flip right over. And you can use this to really scrub the inside of your rig. And if you don't have a beaker bong, or you have a rig like mine, which has some complicated tubing and other parts, they do make these smaller little magnets here that fit inside of those areas. And I quite often use these small round ones to clean this area here when it gets way too dirty. And I like that it all comes in this nice little tin that packs up for storage. So having those tools in your arsenal is always a nice addition, especially if you're on team low effort and you let your rigs get a little dirtier. Having those tools is always really nice. At the end of the day, the cleaning solution is really the magic behind the whole situation. And that's really where the work comes in. Scrubber Duckies has a coconut and sugar formula, non-toxic, 0 dyes, 0 colorants. Very nice and easy to work with. The other thing I look for with cleaners is that they're not too caustic. I don't really want to be handling anything that's going to be really damaging for my skin or my home plumbing. So when I saw this coconut and sugar formula with all this non-toxic stuff, I figure this is pretty eco-friendly. For the directions, it says it can be used unheated or heated. But what I've found when it comes to all these cleaners, whether it's this one or the other ones that we're going to talk about, is that heated is always the way to go. Because when your rig gets really dirty and you have all that resin buildup, heat is what's going to loosen it up the most. So this is a concentrated liquid, which means you're going to use some water with this. And if you use it unheated, you're going to have to use a lot more solution than you would if you used it heated. So that just means that when this is heated up, it's a lot more effective. And with any of these cleaners and your expensive rigs, you're gonna want to use distilled water, even for cleaning, because the hard water is especially damaging when the water is hot. With Scrubber Duckies, you pour 1 to 2 ounces into a microwave safe container, dilute the concentrate with up to 4 times water, heat the water in the microwave safe container until hot, and then submerge the small objects or dump the solution into the rig and you're ready to go. And with unheated, you dilute it with 2 times the amount of water, and I found that you have to soak it so much longer. So I really just suggest taking the time to heat this up in the microwave. Let's talk about some of the other things that I use for cleaning. And those are just some scientific plugs, whether it's some from Formula 420, which are specifically designed for rigs, or just some typical glass flask plugs that you can get from any place that you would buy accessories for scientific glass, like chemistry stuff. I found these ones on Amazon. You can get variety bags of all different sizes for fairly cheap. And then I always make sure to have a towel of some sort because inevitably you're going to spill a little bit. And last up, easy peasy, is my microwave safe container, which I just use a Pyrex measuring dish. And what I do when I get a new rig or before I clean a rig, if I'm not really sure how much water to put in, I'll get some distilled water, I'll plug all the holes, and then fill my rig all the way to the top, dump that water into a measuring glass to see exactly how much water I need to clean the rig, and then I'll use that as a knowledge base to make sure I'm not wasting distilled water. So for my Evolv, I know I need about 1 cup of distilled water. So we're gonna go ahead, fill this up with about a cup. It says 1 to 2 ounces, so I usually do about 4 tablespoons because I actually don't have a shot glass. And once I have that all mixed up, I'm going to go ahead and throw this in a microwave. And I got to be honest with you, I actually really like the way that Scrubber Ducky smells. It's got a very pleasant smell, nothing too strong or chemically. Okie doke. Now after I've microwaved it for about 3 minutes, for dab rigs like this and other small rigs that have multiple chambers, what I like to do is I will start filling it from the joint first. Let it fill up till the joint is about to overflow, then I'll plug that, and then I will start filling from the top side. Then once I have it mostly full, just because I have all these different chambers and arms on here, I'll give it a little bit of a back and forth to try and get all the air bubbles out of there and up to the top, so the cleaner and the water fills the whole part and there's no air bubbles. And then you can actually see all of the wax bubbles floating around in the bottom there. The hot water and all the sugar and other stuff just strip it right off of the walls. Really fun to see. And I'll fill it just a little more, just to get it all the way to the top. Then we'll plug the top, and we're gonna let that sit for a little bit. And then while that's sitting, what I like to do, if I have some left over, I'm gonna go ahead and clean one of my bangers. You can see how this part here is all brown from reclaim, and I have a little stain under here. So I'll fill it up back to about a cup again. Top it off with just a little. Sometimes I just free ball this one till the water looks just a little cloudy, and I'll throw this back in the microwave for a couple minutes. Now that this has had a chance to sit and all of the dab reclaim has kind of collected, I like to just give it a little toss and turn there to get everything real loose. You don't really have to do that, but I like to just kind of shake everything around and loosen everything up. And you can see all of it floating around in there, pretty cool. So we're going to leave that just sit for another couple seconds. And then the important part is just to rinse it out with hot water. And I also then follow that by rinsing it out with distilled water to really make sure that there's no hard water left inside the rig. All right, now that I've got my hot solution, I'm going to go ahead and actually put my banger in upside down because I'm just worried about this top part. My dish and bottom stay pretty clean from all the heat. And we'll just let that sit in there. And while that's sitting in the solution, we're going to go ahead and empty this out and give it a rinse and come back with the finished product.
5 minutes later.
All right, and I'm back. Now that I've got the rig all rinsed out, you can see the beautiful transformation it went through. It's super clean, no residue left over, and honestly, it just smells really nice. The whole rig, it was really easy. I didn't have to shake or do anything. I use this nice towel just to dry everything off. And with this rig, it's kind of hard to get all the little nooks and crannies, but easy peasy. Nice, clean, fresh rig, ready to go. If I'm going to put the rig away in a Pelican, or not use it or put it on a shelf for a while, I will use my Air Blaster 6000 thing to just blow out all the remaining moisture in the joints and to make sure that it's really dry. Since I'm going to go ahead and use this rig, I grab my handy dandy ketchup squeeze bottle and fill it up This is really nice for those smaller dab rigs or 10mm rigs if you have any. And just like that, the rig is ready to go. So let's set that off to the side and check in on our banger. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. We're going to get it rinsed with some distilled water and see where we left it.
1 minute later.
Alright, so now that I've got this all rinsed out with distilled water, toweled it off a bit, let's give it a shot with the air blaster. And just like that, a nice, shiny, clean banger. It did leave just a little bit of brown here still. So that brings me to why I still use some of the other cleaners that are a little more aggressive, but really power through some of these tougher stains. Well, now that we've got a clean rig and a clean banger all ready to go, I'm going to go rip some dabs. That's it for Scrubber Duckies and the first series in our cleaning extravaganza. If you guys have other favorite cleaners, let me know about them in the comments so we can check them out. And as always, stay lifted. Psst, come hang out with us on Discord.